service. You know, this stuff does break. Can I rely on you guys to fix it for me? And that's how vendors tend to compete at that point in time, or providers tend to compete. So we move on, and again, once it's stabilized, you get even more people coming into the industry and providing that same service. And then really it's all about optimization. And the customer at that point in time has become used to the stability. They become used to things working as they're meant to. So really their biggest concern is cost. So you get this kind of commoditization that happens over time. Now the graph doesn't stop there, because I think what happens is essentially you still get commodity products like coffee, but you'll get the likes of Starbucks who sell a commodity product but provide a service experience around it. So that graph continues, if you like. But I just want to talk a little bit about kind of Nicholas Carr and his book, Does IT Matter? Essentially what Nicholas is saying in his book is that as these infrastructures are built and as they come out, they offer competitive advantage. So things like the railway lines, electricity, but over time, they become utilities. Over time, really, they cease to offer that competitive advantage. People just expect them to work, and the importance of the technology itself tends to die down. I suppose he has a couple of solid points. I'm not saying technology is not important, but I think there's a subsequent publication, I can't remember the name specifically, but it says IT doesn't matter, but business processes do. So we look back at kind of corporate IT strategy, because I'm using a little bit of this just to illustrate the difference from the customer, the service provider, and also the board's point of view, the executive's point of view. So when I entered into IT, as was late 80s, there really wasn't that much interaction. So customers didn't have to depend heavily on technology, not IT anyway, unless you include things like phone and fax, but it's just communications. People used to write letters, they'd appear in person, and communication between businesses, really there are a few IT-based interactions. So at that point, the corporate IT strategy, really, it was a long line, there was no real pressure, so you could plan and invest in IT in isolation of anyone, perhaps except your suppliers. The aim really was to get the back office more productive, more efficient, to get more throughput. But executives weren't really concerned with the cost of IT at that point. You had to have it. If you wanted to be competitive, if you wanted to have that advantage, you really had to have IT. Internal IT, of course, they designed and operated everything. So they supplied the hardware, all the software, and they gave that to the employees, and the employees really depended heavily on them. Nobody knew how this stuff worked, so really we had to depend heavily on the IT function.